Consistent self-improvement, everybody. You're now listening to American gypC Podcast. I'm your host, Classic. I'm here with my co-host,
gypC.
and we're also with our guest co-host,
Timnit.
And today we have special guest Adriana Gavazzoni, and she is a Brazilian attorney, a law school professor, and author of several thrillers. Welcome to the show, Adriana.
welcome.
Thank you, gypC. Thank you, Classic. Thanks for having me tonight. Tonight for me, today for you.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
it's a pleasure. So to get started with that, tell us a little bit about where you're from and how you got into the career that you're in now.
Well, I'm from Brazil. I was born in Brazil. I live in Brasília. Brasília is the capital of Brazil.
Okay.
And I've been a lawyer for 31 years. And it's hard to say how I chose that. It was when I was 12 years old. I read a legal book and I decided I loved rules and I love that kind of thing. So I decided early and became a writer much later. When I was 45 to 46, I decided to start writing.
Okay.
What made you get into writing?
I write fiction. My first trilogy, the books are psychological and erotic thrillers. And my second series is called Where the Road Goes. They are action mystery novels about spies, secret agents, and snipers.
I love it.
How long ago did you start writing, and what inspired you to get into writing?
Well, I started when I was 46 to 47, and I wrote 5 novels. Uh, my first trilogy got some good awards in the United States and Canada, and the others books also got medals, honorable mentions, were finalists of some great contests. So far it's doing great, my writing, because I didn't start as a career. Just start writing to fulfill a dream of being a writer.
Okay. I wanted to go back to Brasilia. Me personally, I've had a chance to visit Brazil, but I didn't know that Brasilia was the capital of Brazil. For some reason, I had São Paulo there. Can you tell us a little bit about Brasilia and how different it is from São Paulo?
Totally different. São Paulo is the biggest city in Brazil. That's the reason everybody thinks it's the capital.
Yeah.
It has thousands of inhabitants. Brasilia is the small town. It's an artificial town created to be the capital. So it's not like São Paulo that is a spontaneous city. It's all planned, all those boring buildings. The good thing about Brasilia is there is a huge artificial lake here, created also when the city was built. And I live in one of those lakes. They call South Lake and North Lake. I live in the North Lake, and it's just like living in the country because it's so peaceful. So many trees. I have monkeys that come to the trees in my backyard. It's good. It's peaceful. It's not like São Paulo. São Paulo is crowded. It's just like New York.
Okay.
Mhm.
So for someone like, if I was visiting Brazil for the first time, what city would you recommend?
Not São Paulo.
Not Sao Paulo. I'll make sure to tell our friend that.
Always crowded and island for my taste. I would recommend the south of Brazil. There are beautiful cities there. Like, have you ever heard about Iguaçu Falls?
Yeah, I have.
I
Is
have.
that by the Argentina border, right? Or,
As Argentina and Paraguay border, it's beautiful. It's green. Or you can go to the north of Brazil, where there are beautiful, beautiful beaches. It's beautiful there. So Rio de Janeiro, yes, but you have to take care because it's a little bit violent also. But it's beautiful. Rio is one of the most beautiful cities in Brazil. It's really amazing. But don't go to São Paulo. São Paulo is polluted, crowded, and dangerous.
That's what I was gonna ask actually. When I think of Brazil, I think a lot of like South Africa. There are a lot of similarities. But on TV, and especially because of the World Cup, you always hear of like violence and how it might not be the safest. So I'm wondering, is that just speaking of more of Sao Paulo? As a woman tourist going to Brazil, if I visit Brasilia, is it safe for me to just wander by myself, or is it one of those where you really should know your locals, stick to touristy areas?
Yes, you have to pay attention to some areas. For example, São Paulo, if you are a woman alone, you can't leave the touristical places, you can't leave a certain area because there are slums, there is a lot of violence. I've been robbed in São Paulo once, and I'm a little bit afraid to say it's safe for a woman during the night. During the day, if you don't have jewelry, if you pay attention, it's going to be okay. Brasilia is super safe because, as I said, I'm living here for 2 years now. It's super safe, super, super safe. There are other big cities in Brazil that are safe, but as all big cities, you have to pay attention. Certain areas you shouldn't go. It's like going to New York and going to Bronx, I think,
Mm.
during the night alone. It's not safe. It doesn't mean something is going to happen to you, but it's not that safe if you are in other parts of the city. Like every big city, big cities has the same problem here.
Okay. Now, I know you live in Brazil now, but your last name is very Italian. And I know you mentioned your family is from Italy. Can you tell us a little bit about what it's like growing up in Brazil in an Italian family, and how did your family migrate?
My grandparents migrated after the Second Great War. As all people that immigrated, they are having difficulties in Italy, so they came to Brazil to try another life. Uh, Growing up in an Italian family, it's noisy. Uh, Italians loud. They talk a lot with their hands. They are always shouting, and it's not because we are angry to each other. It's just because we are happy. So it was a big family. My grandparents from both sides had 10 kids each. So I come from a family that I have many uncles and aunties and cousins, and sometimes every January we get together, like it's like 200 people talking all the same time, drinking wine and singing,
Oh my
because
Mm.
God.
Italians also love to sing. And it's funny to grow in an Italian family.
How is the well? I guess could you recommend some of the foods, the Brazilian foods for us if we were like visiting or touring? Of course, I've had some of the best steak, in my opinion, when I was there that I can remember. What are some of the most famous food places that are in Brazil?
The most famous food in Brazil is feijoada. It's
Feijoada
black beans
and
with
rice.
pork meat. It's wonderful, but it's going to destroy your day. You have to go from the restaurant to your home to sleep, to your hotel to sleep, because it's too heavy. Prefer the dishes made with fish, so with shrimp. We have some muquecas. They're great. They are uh, shrimp sauces with red sauce. It's very good. We can have a nice barbecue here. As you said, we have great steaks here. So we have what we call churrascarias. Usually, foreigners, when they come and we take them to churrascarias, they are amazing because the amount of meat is huge. You can't eat everything they offer to you. And our meat is very good, usually. There are bad cases, but usually the meat in Brazil is very good.
Okay.
So I recommend a nice barbecue, a feijoada, or a muqueca.
So I did have some, when I was 15, I did have some pinga when I was there, and I did a good bit of drinking. Yeah. What are some of the famous wines of, that, I don't know anything about wines, but can you tell us a little bit about some of the famous wines of Italy? Or
Brunello di Montalcino, I love. It's one that I love. There are the wines from Tuscany. They are great. I'm intending to visit in May. Um, how do I pronounce Puglia? It's a region of great wines in Italy also. Brazil doesn't have a tradition of producing great wines.
yeah.
We now have good sparkling wines because it's a hot country and it's not good for grapes for red wine, but it's good for sparkling wine. But here, if you came here and you try pinga,
Yes, I love pinga.
pinga for a kid of 15, how did you get? Oh,
Well, my family, my Brazilian family, yeah,
You're getting people in trouble.
I'm not getting them in trouble. My mom knew I drank when I was there as well, but they allowed me to drink when I was there, and my Brazilian brother, of course. And I went to the
happy.
parties. I had Brazilian friends. I made friends real quick, and
Did
yeah.
you try caipirinha?
Oh, I love
What's
caipirinha.
caipirinha?
Ah, there is someone who
Yep.
knows
I'm not.
What
caipirinha.
is
If
that?
any bar knows how to make it, I usually choose that caipirinha.
I don't know.
It's the cocktail. It tastes better. I don't know.
Or with vodka.
I don't know. I don't think it's with vodka. I thought it was like a special type of liquor, not a common
The
one.
caipirinha, the traditional Brazilian caipirinha is pinga
Okay.
and sugar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it
Yeah.
is. Yeah, definitely
Some
not vodka.
But as it's hard to find pinga abroad, usually they do caipirosca. That's a replacement of pinga for vodka.
Okay,
And
that might be it.
I think it's lighter.
Yeah. But yeah, I really enjoyed myself. And Rio, we got a chance to go and spend some time in Rio. That was maybe 98, 99. How has Rio changed? The beach of Rio changed over the course of time?
Rio is a big city, so it didn't change that much because it's already crowded since the time you've been there to now. It expanded, the violence increased a little bit
Okay.
those last years, main of all after COVID, because people suffered a lot with COVID. There is an economical crisis, so the violence tends to increase. But Rio is still beautiful. You are going to find the same beautiful landscapes that you saw. So I recommend that you go there if you want. If you come to Brazil, go to Rio. Just pay attention. But it's still beautiful.
Yeah.
Um, this is my last Brazil question. So, how pivotal is it to know either Spanish or Portuguese when you're visiting Brazil? Or like, can you get by just knowing English? Do most people still know English? No.
Nope. We speak Portuguese. It's easy for us as we have lots of Spanish speakers neighbors. Argentina, Paraguay, Chile, Uruguay, they are our neighbors and they speak Spanish. We can understand Spanish. But most of Brazilians can't speak Spanish, and English, it's even harder. But of course, we are going to find people speaking English, but not in the middle of the street. It's not a common language.
Yeah.
You're going to find people in restaurants, hotels, and touristic place speaking English or a sort of, but to be able to understand.
Because I know Aradas, where I was, it was basically a pretty, clean town. So I didn't know much Portuguese at all, but I still walked the streets by myself and went shopping and did things like that. But it's not like a big, big city. It was a very small
No,
city. And yeah,
cozy, cozy, and it's
yes,
less violent than big cities. Yeah,
yeah, it's a real nice place.
I know
yes, it is.
oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. You speak a lot of languages. What language is your books in, or is it in multiple languages?
My books are in English and Portuguese. I
Okay.
have 5 published in English and 3 translated to Portuguese because I decided to write in English to hide. Remember, I'm a lawyer.
Okay.
I work main novel with. I'm a corporate lawyer, so I work almost all the time with men. And my first trilogy is composed by erotic books. They are psychological and erotic books, thrillers. So I didn't want to publish something like that in Brazil. Then I decided to read in English. And then, when thanks to social media, in 2 days after publishing my first novel, the world discovered I had published. I decided to translate into Portuguese.
Oh wow, that's
Couldn't have.
Congratulations on that.
yeah. But when you personally, I know you get it translated, but when you're first writing it, like the idea stage and you're just doing rough draft on your own computer or whatever, are you writing in Portuguese first or in English?
No, in English.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
And then my editor fixes.
Okay.
A mistake. I have a great editor in United States, and she fixes after that.
Nice.
Are you crazy? What did you say here? What's that?
So, of course, with Brazil being one of the most beautiful places you could travel, what are some other places that you've traveled to that you feel are just as beautiful as Brazil?
California is beautiful. I've
Okay.
been there. You have a wonderful place. Santa Monica, Venice, all those cities around, they are beautiful. I love the United States. I've been to your country 15 days ago, but
Okay.
I've been to New York and Philadelphia this time. I love France. I studied in France, so my heart is a little bit French. And as my father says, I don't know why, because you don't have one drop of French blood, but I love I love the culture. The food there is amazing, of course. The wines are incredible in France. Uh, I love, let me see which other countries I love. England, but I don't like the food that much. So I prefer to travel to places where I can uh, enjoy good food.
Mm.
And Australia, sorry, Austria. I've never been to Australia. Austria is a great place that I love. Hungary, and I intend to visit Russia, but I don't think I'm going now.
I
Yeah, it might not be
Give
a
it
good
some
time to
time.
go. Yeah.
all my dreams of going there in August. So I think I'm going to go back in Italy. I like Italy. It's not my favorite place. They are too Italian for my taste.
What? But the food.
Just kidding. The food is amazing.
Yeah.
The wines great. I love Italy too. But my favorite country in the world is France.
Oh, you said you studied there. Was it like study abroad or you went to college in France?
Study abroad when I was doing my master degree.
Okay.
I went to France to spend some time there to research. So I was accepted as a researcher, and I spent some time there researching. I went back to do tons of courses because, of course, I always find a reason to go to France matter what. And then I studied international contracts there. After that, arbitrage. And I just love to go there. Many friends from this time. Maybe one day I'm going to live for a while in France.
I'm sure that
Yeah.
that'll be something that. Well, I haven't been to France. We've been to a
Mm.
couple of places, but
I have one place.
It's like a
There's
wonder-
this village in the south of France that I really want to go to. It's been on my list since
does it have a beach?
I was a little kid. It is. It
has a
was on
beach?
the
Okay.
water. It's.
It has to have
I
a beach.
can't.
Oh,
I can't
Nice.
pronounce it properly. No, it's not Nice. It's Ankh Provence or something like that. AI.
We
One
couldn't
more
hear
time.
you.
Provence is a region, okay? But where in Provence?
No. AIX dash AU. It was like
Eh,
AIX. It's like I don't know.
en Provence.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
It's beautiful. You have to go to if you want to go to to see the beaches there. You could go to Nice. Nice is very charming. Cannes. Cannes is beautiful too. Lots of casinos. Monaco. It's small but beautiful. They are almost all together. And then you have to visit the castles region, Vallée de la Loire. Beautiful, 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 wonderful castles. It's like fairy tale the whole time there. It's really, yeah, of course, Paris. Paris is amazing, but it's a huge city.
Yeah.
Over the past 2 years during the pandemic, did you find that as an inspiring time to write, or did most of your writing come in the time before that?
I wrote a novel during the pandemic that I released last year in November.
Okay.
But I had to work a lot during the pandemic. Imagine the companies, I work for companies. Companies were crossing huge financial problems. So, as a lawyer, I had to help them to survive. Uh, it was really complicated. Many companies closed their doors in Brazil. So I worked a lot during the pandemic. The good thing was I worked from home wearing shorts.
Yep, I work with my pajamas too. In my pajamas.
I had to talk to some judge. I just put a shirt over my shorts, of course, and myself in front of the camera, and that was great time. Thanks God it's almost over, all this COVID story, because I can't stand anymore.
Are things going back to normal business wise?
It's pretty much going back to normal. We are not hearing any more huge cases. The majority of people are vaccinated, so uh, everybody got their 2 or 3 shots, and even people who get the COVID now, it's a COVID that's just like a flu.
Yeah.
It's not something that kills you. I've got COVID before the shots, So before the vaccine, but I survived. It's okay.
Yes.
Yeah, we know a few people.
But before we get ready to close things out, would you like to let the audience know about some upcoming projects that you're working on, and let us know some of the links where they can find your work and things like that?
And
Well, I'm working now in two new novels. One is a first book. My trilogy is now going to be a series, not a trilogy, because I'm going to add a first book to it. And I'm writing another novel based on a case that I have in court. So it's inspired, it's going to be fiction, but it's inspired by a huge case I'm defending now in court. And well, my books are on Amazon worldwide. So you can find me pretty much everywhere on social medias, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and I always answer. People want to make me questions, read my novels, and comment. It's a pleasure to receive the reviews and to talk to my readers. I always answer in inbox of Facebook or in Instagram or to my email, adriana@adrianagavazzoni.com. You can find me.
Okay.
Right.
And it's been a pleasure talking with you. Learned a lot about Brazil, so I'm looking forward, and I hope my Brazilian brother sees this episode, because he's gonna hound me some more about, when are you coming back? When are you coming back? But
When you come back, I'm going to be, yes, your hostess, okay? Going
sure.
to show other parts of Brazil. All
And if you're ever in Los Angeles, definitely let us know, and we'd love to invite you in for an in studio conversation as well. So
great. I'd like to know. Thanks for having me tonight.
thank
It was a
you.
pleasure to be with you.
We appreciate your time and
likewise.
consideration. Thank you to our listeners. Thank you to all of our supporters.
And you can find the podcast at americangypsy.com, and you can find consistent self-improvement merch at luamlee.com.
And we also have some melodies of music, some of my music under Classic Carpenter, KLACCIKCARPENTA. That's on Spotify, Tidal, Apple Music, YouTube, all major platforms. Thank you again to our listeners. Thank you again, Adriana. And consistent self-improvement to everybody. Good night.
Peace.
Peace.